I'm here. I'm just trying to set up. What?
Where's your laptop?
I'm not using my laptop.
Tablet?
I'm using the phone. Hi, Paul. Hi. Alright.
I'm just saying I finished the laundry going upstairs.
Okay. Keep an eye on your siblings.
Yep. Watch my YouTube stream, it's better.
Go.
Video games are more interesting.
Go.
I know. Bye.
Hi, everybody. Trying to make sure that the mic works this week, so I'm waiting for Sarah to answer me. So, can you hear me? Does it sound really echoey? If you can't hear me, let me know. Oh, I'm all good? No echo? Sounds like it's supposed to. Boy. Cool. So, I'm actually going to pull the feed up on my pad because I can't see when you guys talk to me. So. Hi, Elizabeth. On. Nope. I want to see the chat. Oh. Hold on, guys. There we go. Okay, I've got the chat up. Oh my goodness. So, alrighty. So, week 5. Can't believe this is 5 weeks. So, surprised anybody's actually still watching. Let me do that so we don't have to hear me in stereo. I'll lower this a little bit. There we go. So, hi, Bevin. How we doing? Kids are the greatest. Until they're driving you crazy or they're older. Yeah, I asked her, so I didn't tell her which ones I was sending her though, but I'm glad because I know she'll use them. So, hi, Chris. I put this up here for a reason, didn't I? There we go. It's like I'm still trying to look the other way. Zakia? I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. I suck at phonetics. I was always a bad speller. I was better at math. So, alrighty. So I changed it up a little bit. I know it's not that easy to see, but I got some more storage cubes, the ones with the doors that open. This is 2 sets. So it's 3 sets. It's 2 sets, 9x9s. I've got 3 rows of 5, and then I was actually 1 panel short for this one, but I had extra from my other side, so just so people understand. So because when they do the 9x9, things use sharing walls, so there's not going to be 9 boxes if you try to do a different configuration per se. So, okay, I can call you Kia. Cool. I had a Kia. I had a Kia Sorento, and then I had kids and realized it was too small. So, but I did enjoy that car. So, hi, Taddy! Yay! Glad you're here this week. So, I hope you're feeling okay. I know you're kind of not, so, but I appreciate that you kind of popped in. So, okay, so we were gonna discuss What did we say we were going to discuss today? Oh, I know. The first thing that we were going to discuss is like holding the looms and stuff. Because a lot of people were asking, you know, it gets like difficult and stuff like that. So I'm sure like when you're using something small, it's really not that difficult. You know, small ones, it's not a big deal, you know, because it's like very light. It's not a heavy thing, things like that. When it comes to bigger items, I don't have anything on this loom, so you'll have to forgive me. So this is the Cindy Wood 48 peg KK replica replacement, whatever. So normally I don't really use anything. I know some people have stands and stuff like that. So like even when I'm loom knitting with this, this is basically I sit in a recliner. So sometimes it's like balanced on my leg, sometimes it's flat on my leg, sometimes I do it like this. You know what I'm saying? So like it's here on my leg. And then I'll go around, you know, that way. And even when I have big stuff, I do the same thing. Like I'll put it between my legs and I'll just go as far as I can go and then flip it. Even bigger looms I've done that with. I haven't. The biggest loom I've used is probably the one that the blanket is on now, the one I did like in the first video. It's a 63 peg, 3 1/4 gauge. So it's probably like this big. So, and again, I put it on my lap and I work that way. But I know that some people will put like a pillow on their lap and then rest it on a pillow. So I know a lot of people kind of like go this way, like where they hold their loom straight. I don't. I hold it like up. You know what I'm saying? I like literally kind of hold it straight up, you know, rather than even at an angle. I think it's just a matter of, especially like when you're using something like really heavy, like a blanket or something, it winds up becoming heavy. So it's not even the way you hold the loom. It's really where you put the item that you're working on, like the blanket. It starts to get really heavy and it starts to pull down and things like that. I have seen people build them with PVC piping and angles and stuff like that. Okay. Give me all the yarn you want, Bevan. I'll take it. Not that I don't have enough, but I'll take it anyway. Anyway, you know, so like I said, I've heard people use pillows. So like they'll put a pillow on their lap. That would probably work. I'll have to try it one time. Like I said, I don't go for very long periods of time, so that might be part of why I don't get tired of like holding it or resting or that moving, because like I'll do maybe a row or two and then I'll stop and then I'll do a row or two and I'll stop. You know, my kids constantly want me, so I'm constantly putting it down. But my kids have boppy pillows and I have still like that maternity pillow. So that might be something like where you can like put it there and then the project can kind of fall through the pillow in a little bit. That sounds like a good idea. Like if you're going to use a pillow, because like even if you use a pillow, your pillow is like this. So your stuff is going to start bunching up through here. And yeah, you can kind of keep pulling it this way, but you got to keep moving it, adjust it, moving it, adjust it, which I have to do with like my leg warmer, because like when I'm doing it, it starts bunching up and then it starts pushing through and it's like, all right, I'm going to pull it down and stuff like that. But that might be a good idea. Like I said, I've seen people construct holders with PVC piping. Somebody just posted in the group today, I don't know if it was our group, but there was like several posts of someone who designed it to the PVC piping. I know I think Bonnie did it too, because I think she has the colorful ones. You can basically, what you do is you don't glue them, you put it together, and then like certain things, like, because it'll fit snug, but if you glue it, you're screwed. It's not coming apart. So if you buy the pieces and stuff like that, you can restructure it. So basically you can rebuild it. The only thing with that is, unless you can cut PVC piping yourself, it winds up kind of being more money. See, my husband knows like pricing of PVC because, you know, he did construction and things like that. So like I asked him like, all right, if I wanted to design something like that, he goes, well, your best bet wouldn't be to buy pieces or pay them to cut it. He's like, it's cheaper to buy a really long single piece and the elbows and stuff and cut it yourself into the pieces that you need. So I definitely would price it out. So if you're like low on funding, PVC piping is probably not the cheapest way. One of the cheapest ways I've seen is if you buy spindle legs or like banister legs, and you just use 2x2 and kind of make like a table with an opening. I have a picture somewhere. I'll try to remember to do it. Basically, it looks like a table, and it has the outer edge, and then you lay your looms. Like I've seen somebody, it was designed to do it for like an S loom or the Afghan loom. And basically, it sits right on top, and everything just falls to the floor, so it pulls down. And it's just 4 legs and this border that the legs are attached to. Nice and simple, and that's rather cheap. I don't know if you guys can see it from there. I have the rotating loom. The rotating loom, if you have this, I noticed a couple of people had said like, oh my God, really? They sell attachments for this piece that you can snap on. You know what, here, give me a second. I'll take it down. Just in case anybody forgets. This loom right here, the KB rotating loom, right here. I can't do this with the light, but I'll try to do it. There we go. So if you haven't seen this loom, it rotates. It's basically like on a Lazy Susan. And then this top piece comes off, not easily, by the way. You can tell I haven't taken it off that often. My fingers are not that easy. Hold on. Well, I could just do this. Here they are. So basically you take the topper off, and there are these pieces, and they go into it, and then you could adjust them and turn them. And then each one has like this little hairband that you loop around, so it will secure yours to the thing. So if you can see, hold on, let me get closer. If you can see that, see how it's set up? So you can move it around, and it holds very small looms, and it holds other rather big ones. I've seen people put really big ones on there. So it is capable, and I don't think these are very expensive at all. I don't remember what I paid for them, to be honest, but I know that they weren't expensive. KB's cool like that. I think like where like the looms are not crazy priced, but like the attachments and the add-ons and stuff like that, they definitely make them cheaper. So like it's more functional. Like anyone who owns the adjustable looms, the all-in-one, the 28 and the 38, all of the pieces that they do for that, the 5, the 20, the 2, the 1, all those pieces, they're not expensive at all. They're maybe like $5-6. I think maybe the 20 peg extenders are not that expensive. Plus, most people, if you buy the 28 to begin with and the 20 peg extenders come with it. I know it came with mine, but that was a long time ago. So, but yeah, so those are definitely different ways that you can hold your project, your loom. It's really all a matter of what makes you comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So like if something's not working, or you know, sometimes for certain looms it's just better to adjust as you go. I don't think you need to, you know, pay for expensive stuff and things like that. If you're handy, or your husband is handy, or girlfriend or wife or whomever in your house is handy. Hi, Australia. Hello. Skippy, right? Yeah. So the pad is being a jerk, so. What was I gonna say? If you have somebody, you can definitely think it out. Like the first time I bought the 38-inch, my husband designed like a holder for it. The only problem was it would like tilt and it would be really difficult to work with, so I just stopped using it, and he was going to redesign it, and I said, don't bother. But if anybody had seen it, it was like, it literally was a stand on the floor, and it had two arms that came up, and then like these two little pegs, so the loom would hold on each side, but the weight would just literally turn it flat, and it would be uncomfortable because you can't, the thought was there. So it was just something that had to be kind of like kinked out. It was like, yeah, I can't put it away. It's like in the way. So the PVC piping is definitely a great thing. If you can do it, if you can figure it out, if you can afford it, that's definitely the best way to go, because you can restructure it, you can rebuild it, you can take it apart and put it away. So, go. You can come give me a hug. Okay, come give me a hug and a kiss. Come give me a hug and kiss.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay.
Video.
All right, go to bed.
Come on, Mama.
Go with Aunt Sarah.
I'll see the tattoo.
No, go with Aunt Sarah. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Come on, upstairs.
She's been on and off sick all week, so she's being very, mommy, I love you. Mommy, I want to be near you. I was like, you just want to give me your disease, child. So yeah, I mean, unless anyone has any questions or anything about that, like I said, you can definitely Google loom holders and things like that. You'll definitely get more variety now that it's more of a prevalent thing for people to have looms and be looming. So where like maybe like 5-6 years ago it was new. So by now it's not really new. It's more mainstream. More mainstream things are picking it up and working with loom designers and things like that. So, but yeah, definitely that. The other thing that I was trying to build a prototype with a friend, but things had gotten out of whack. And it was basically like a project bag that was like a catch-all bag that literally it would like attach to your loom so that your stuff would go in it, and then you could unattach your loom and put it in the project bag. So it's still being prototyped out, but it was a cool idea. But again, weight becomes an issue. Yeah, definitely do what is comfortable. So I've seen people use laundry baskets, all different things. Look around your house. You probably, if you really thought about it, like if you looked around your house, you're like, you know what? I could probably repurpose that, and that would be a great idea. I always see people like the person who designed this loom here with the Lazy Susan. I'd seen people using the Lazy Susan before that, just like an old Lazy Susan to just put their loom on and spin it around and do whatever. So, it's all a matter of literally looking around your house and saying, hey, what can I do? Like, what would be usable? What could I work out? What can I, maybe cut a hole in or something like that. Like definitely if you get like a cheap basket, you can probably like cut the top off enough for like like if you had this and you had a basket, you can cut just enough for the inner so that this is still on it, but your project is coming through it. That's an idea. So, I definitely do that with like yarn bowls, for lack of a better term. I mean, I have 2 bowls that were made for me by a friend. Yeah, he popped in last week, Dunstan. He did woodworking. He made some hook handles for me, and he made me like 2 bowls. One is like really, really small, and one is like decent size. But I've used all kinds of things, from like plant stands. I'm sure some people have seen my post. I've used plant stands. I've used other kind of bowls with clips on them. If you have a big salad bowl, you know what I'm saying, and a binder clip, you got a yarn bowl. You don't even have to. Yeah. So it's all about ingenuity at that point. It's all a matter of just, looking around and saying, okay, what can I use? What can I finagle? What can I get away with? And, again, just whatever's comfortable. Sometimes it's not even what's holding your loom. It's how you're sitting. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't, because I use this arm. So like I do a lot with this arm. So like if I'm like sitting on the couch, you know what I'm saying? And I'm against the couch on this side, I can't knit because my arm, it's uncomfortable for me. So it's like I have to be sitting on the other side, or I have to be sitting sideways. I can't, I can't have this arm without a lot of room for full range of motion. Sometimes it's a matter of how you sit. Like if you have a recliner or something like that, you can have that little angle, or you can lean back a little bit. Some people, it's more comfortable for them to sit straight up. So, you know, maybe even not even how you hold your loom. Maybe it's a matter of concept of, hey, how am I sitting? You know, if things are uncomfortable, if your arms are uncomfortable, you know, are you using a chair with arms? Are you, you know, how are you sitting? You know, that does have a lot to do with it. And I know that because of my ridiculously chronic illnesses, I have to pay attention to a lot of dopey crap that I didn't have to pay attention to before. It's like, oh my God, why am I in such pain? And it's like, oh, because you were doing this. And it would be something that you wouldn't even like consider that, but for long extensive periods of time, it's like, you know, like this chair here, like I sit here for an hour and a half, and afterwards I'll go ice my back because I cannot sit like this because of the compression on my back. So it's like I have to be like leaning a little bit to give it some angle. It's weird, but you know, I can't do certain things because it becomes uncomfortable. Like I built this last night and my husband screamed at me because I built it and I was insistent on building it. And I was insisting on literally doing it all last night because I didn't want to have to do much today. And I literally sat down on the floor for 20 minutes tops, and the rest I was standing up or whatever. I can tell you right now, I was dying last night. I literally, my hip sockets were all messed up and stuff like that. So, you know, and it, like I said, it wasn't until I got to a certain point there and it was like, okay, I'm past the point of no return. So being comfortable and seeing how you're sitting and things like that might also help with that, with your looming and things like that. So that's definitely something to consider when you're working on your stuff. I know Kia, she's still here. I think it was Kia. My memory is not always that good, so forgive me. That we were talking about ways to de-stress when working on projects. So normally it's like, all right, we go to our craft to de-stress from life. So what happens when your craft becomes your stress? So, the problem with that is, I think some people put too much into it. You know, if it's stressing you out, there's different ways to do that. Just the same way that it comes to dealing with life. Sometimes you need to walk away, put it down, say, okay, you're pissing me off. I'm going to fling you out the window any minute now. I'm just going to put you down and go veg out on some TV show. Go watch some Netflix and chill. You know, is the project stressing you out because the actual project is difficult? Like I've gotten stressed out because I've realized like I'll be doing something and while my want to knit is outweighing my understanding that my mind and body is tired. So like I've gotten to the point where I've learned not to push it. Like if I start to feel tired, I'm just putting the damn thing down, because what'll happen is I'll keep going and then I'll realize I screwed up and I screwed up bad, and then I've got to back up. Then I'm pissed because now I'm worried about dropping stitches, that I screw something up. You know, I was doing a shawl with one of Debbie's stitches, the one for my mother-in-law, and I was knitting one night and I like screwed up big time, and I was literally so much more frustrated trying to back up to fix what I screwed up, which made me even more frustrated, where if I just had put the damn thing down and went to bed, it wouldn't have been a problem. So, you know, it's okay to put something down for a few days and not, you know, it's frustrating because your brain is like, all right, well, I need to de-stress from everything else, and this is my go-to, and that go-to is making you stressed. So, yeah, I was going to say that is, another thing to do is to start something simple or easy, you know, just something mindless, you know, something typically e-wrappy or something really simple, you know what I'm saying? If it's a toy or it's a pair of fingerless, I find fingerless gloves and like basic, like no frills hats, you can just sit there and just be like mindless as all hell and it doesn't matter. Definitely starting simple projects. The only thing about that, and I'm going to touch on it in a little bit because somebody asked, you know, how many is there a limit on projects? And I think that there should be a limit on projects because that's a stressor too. Like if you're trying to do 5 different things for 5 different people and you're in your brain, you're on a time limit, like you're creating stressors for yourself. You know what I'm saying? If this is the place that you're supposed to go to de-stress and to enjoy by adding in all those stressors, you know, it's okay to tell people no. Like definitely, like if you're, you know, a couple of projects in and somebody's like, oh, I really, really want this, tell them no. Tell them, listen, when I'm done with this one, you're next on the list. You know, my daughter's always asking me for stuff. She asked me to make her a hat because she saw some pretty yarn. And she's like, Mommy, make me a hat. I was like, Mommy made you 3 hats. They're all in the bin. I was like, and you haven't worn them. She's like, well, but it's pink. I said, your other hat has pink in it. I actually had to beg off to get yarn because I didn't have enough finishing that project. I was like, I had to pay someone to go buy me that yarn in another state, in another store to get it for you. And you want me to make another hat? No. That's my kid, you know. But no, like seriously, like if your hobby, your de-stressor is stressing you, then it's time to reevaluate what it is that's stressing you. Is it the project that's stressing you? Is it the pattern that's stressing you? You know, people have a bad tendency, like when they see all these beautiful things and they see people doing all these things and, you know, different levels of ability, you know, and everybody can get there, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes they, you know, they make the comment, you know, before you can walk, you have to crawl, and before you run, you have to walk. So like there's that slow movement of going, you know. So sometimes if a pattern is stressing you out, maybe it's time to put it down, understand the fundamentals of that pattern, and maybe back up and find something that has that fundamental in it and build from there till you get to that space. Okay, Teddy, I love you. Feel better, babe. So, I'll talk to you in chat later. So, love you. So, hey, sorry. I'm just totally thrown off for a second there. So, Teddy is sick. So, and her being sick reminds me about my dad, and I constantly am hoping for her to feel better and to be better, and things like that, where I know, because my dad couldn't be better, so, and I know that she's got a lot more things that she can do and a lot more avenues to go to, so it's kind of, she's like my rooting tool at that point. It's like I want her to succeed because my dad didn't, so okay, sorry, that was like majorly depressive. Anyway, but yeah, so you can start a small project. You can definitely walk away, put something down, things like that. If you're constantly being stressed, you know, so like if you try putting it down and that doesn't work, and you try a smaller project and you're frustrated and things like that, again, then you really have to assess where the root is, because just like everything in life, if you just look at it, you know, on a surface level, you know, you may not be really understanding what the underlying issue is. You know what I'm saying? Is, you know, are you trying to do something that's too difficult? Have you given yourself, you know, have you bitten off more than you can chew? And it's okay if that happens. We all do that. You know, you're not going to get better if you don't test, you know, and push out of your comfort zone and things like that. And sometimes that's what is stressful, is that you like, all right, well, I tried to step out of my comfort zone and now it's a mess and it's screwed up and it's whatever. You know, it's okay to just walk away from it. Like I said, you know, maybe that project needs to be put away for a while. Like I definitely tried to start a couple of things when I was very new and I couldn't accomplish it. And I was just like, all right, you know what? I'm just not going to go there, and then I'll come back. And that years later, I would step out more and more out of my comfort zone and do different things because I've become more efficient at the basics. I've learned more, I understand more and things like that. So I'm not stressing out as much, you know. It's like I couldn't read patterns, so if it wasn't a video, I couldn't understand, you know, but it's like, all right, well, this thing is only a pattern, so yeah, you know, and it's fine. And sometimes, like, if you look at a pattern and it's like, okay, I don't get this, you know, or you're trying to do it and it's just like, it's too complicated. You could always see if there's a video. You could ask the group for help. The group is always there to help. You know, you could just be like, hey, I'm having a really hard time. It's just like my brain isn't getting this, you know. You can explain the stitch, you know, you don't have to, you know, it's not a thing. You can't post, you know, somebody's patterns and things like that. But like if you're having a problem with a specific line or something like that, You know, you could like post the line in and give links to the thing so people can understand it. You could also post something and be like, hey, I've been trying to do this, but I'm having a really hard time. Does anyone know something a little bit easier that's really nice, or something that looks kind of like it? You know what I'm saying? With less, you know, like you look at a lot of things and you'll see a lot of hats and stuff like that, and they look similar and they were designed differently. Even though they look similar, they're, you know, it was the way the knits and purls are, like the spiral hat. Some people have it going one way and some people have it going another, you know, and different ways to come about it. So maybe there's something, be like, hey, you know, this has a lot of yarn overs and, you know, knit three together and I'm getting really confused. Does anyone have something that's a little less? You know, hey, Deb. So that's there too. Again, the group is there for you to help, you know, to help you, you know. Hey, I'm trying to do this pattern. I can't figure it out. I can't, whatever, you know, maybe somebody else can take you into a chat box and talk to you and, you know, give you more, maybe one-on-one time. I can't promise you that, but you never know, you know, it's definitely happened. I've done it. I've had people do it for me, you know, there are people there that want to help. So, and do not listen to the begrudging people that want to pull you down. We talked about that last week. You know, there's always going to be people that want to pull down rather than, you know, push people up. Fuck those people. You know, it's just not worth it because, you know what, because they're low, they want to bring everybody low because they can't rise up. So don't stoop to the level. Don't back up. Just keep going forward. You know, and it's okay to be frustrated, and it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to put it down. It's okay to walk away from it, you know, starting new projects. Now, the only thing that I personally, and again, you have to know you know, if you can have 7, 8, 10, 20 projects going and you can keep track of everything and you're good and you can keep flipping back and forth and da-da-da-da-da, then I'm not going to tell you can't do that. I personally limit myself. You know, I had a 1 project limit for a while because I had like 3 or 4 things going and then nothing was getting accomplished. I was like really bored and I was just like, all right, well, I'll just start something else, and then nothing would get accomplished. And it's like, okay, well, then do I really want to be doing it? So I try to plow through something before I move on to the next. You know, once in a blue moon, I'll have 2, maybe 3 things going. You know, but again, nothing that's on like a timeline or anything like that. Everything is, you know, for me, it's chill. This is my happy place. This is my chill place. So if this is freaking stressing me out, then I have a problem. I have a serious problem. So. Yeah, you have to really, like, again, you know, when you see patterns, you know, you have to understand your own capability. You know, and that's not to say that you like, if you're a beginner, you know, and you pick up an intermediate pattern or you know, an advanced pattern, that you can't get it, you can't understand it, you can't try to push yourself to do so, you know, but understanding your limitations is okay. And just because, say, I've been looming for 6 years, you know, and you've been looming for a year, somebody can be better than me. Yeah, I've been at it for 6 years, but, you know, maybe I'm just not really good at certain things. Maybe I'm not, you know, as fast. Like, my biggest thing is I'm not fast. I refuse to try to knit fast. I like the methodicalness that I do what I do because that's what keeps me calm and keeps me doing what I'm doing. But for other people, it's not the same thing. So, you know, don't look at somebody else's work and be like, oh, well, how long you've been looming, and then feel bad about yourself if you can't accomplish that if you've been doing it longer or vice versa. You know, you have to understand how you are. Some people gravitate to things really easy, you know. Sometimes, you know, needle knitters, you know, they can understand it right away, or it becomes, you know, very hard for them because of the way their mindset is, because they're so used to doing it one way. Like I know lots of needle knitters complain about speed because they're so used to doing it on the needles, and it's while it's knits and purls and the concept is the same at its core, it's not exactly the same. You have to do things differently with the loom because there's no wrong side. So you have to teach yourself now that there's no wrong side. So, and speed is an issue, and it frustrates them. It's like, well, why would I bother looming it if I can just knit it because I can knit it faster? You know, if you're gonna constantly compare and contrast and things like that, you're not going to find a happy place, because there's always going to be something to deter you. There's always going to be something that you can put up in front of yourself to stop yourself, if that's how your mindset is going to be, but sometimes maybe it's a matter of not taking it so seriously, or putting on something and then going back and forth. Maybe the atmosphere isn't right. It's like you're trying to loom and the kids are running around the house and your husband's screaming and blah, blah, blah. I have that all the time. It's like I'm doing something and I'm like trying to count and like I'm not even looking at them and they're like blah, 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 blah. And my husband would always be like, are you listening to me? No, I'm not. I'm not listening to you. What, did you not understand that I'm not listening to you? Or like when I read, I'm very focal when I'm reading. Like I literally am like a horse with blinders on. I'm like, okay, if I'm reading and I'm in a story or I'm in an article or whatever, I don't hear you. So if I did not turn my head to look at you, I don't hear you. So sometimes I know that I can't pull my looms out. It's just like, okay, he's home, everything's going, all right, forget it. I'm not even gonna try because I'm only gonna get aggravated. But it's, you have to learn what's best for you. You can ask for help. You can ask people their opinions. You can ask, what they do, and some things will work for you. Some things won't work for you, but if you're stressed and it's not getting any better and, starting a smaller project isn't getting better, or you find out you're constantly stressed and you're trying to start too many things, maybe just take a step back. When I first started loom knitting, I started and then I stopped for a really long time. Like, I think I may have stopped for like 6 months. That even my husband was like, why are you still buying stuff? He's like, I never see you do it. And I'm like, well, because I don't have time to do it. The babies were little at the time. I said, I don't have time to sit here. I pull it out in the smallest of moments. I was like, but I don't have time to sit there. Since I bought my house, I'm always looming. I'm always looming something. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's justified at this point, but then he was like, why are you buying all this crap and you're not even doing it? And I'm like, I don't bother you when you buy all your freaking tools and this for this and this. And I was like, so I'm always like fair trade. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't feel like I buy a bunch of stuff and then he can't have something, but he can't hold it against me anymore saying that I don't use what I buy, because I do. Maybe not everything. So, because I have like a Pokemon fetish where it's like, oh, I gotta catch them all. Like, I literally own, I think, just about every KB loom. So, I can't own all the Cindywood looms because I'd be broke. I'd have to sell my house and sit on the street. But, I love yarn sales. So, like, I always, if something's like a really good deal, Elizabeth will tell you I'm definitely like a deal lady. So, if there's a deal, I'm buying it. So, yeah, sometimes you just have to walk away, and it may not even be like this that's stressing you. There might just be so much in your life that is stressing you this frig out that you can't relax, and it's stealing the love that you have for this, because there's just so much other crap going on. You know what I'm saying? I have a friend who's trying to sell her house and trying to buy another house, and she is constantly bugging out, and she like texted me today something about a light bulb that she didn't change. She meant to change it, and then she went and it was like halfway unscrewed, and I'm like, are you trying to say your house is haunted now? You lived there for almost 20 years. Like, now it's haunted? She's like, no, but I'm like, you're stressing the frig out. I was like, and everything is getting to you. I was like, every stupid little thing is magnified. You know what I'm saying? So there's no joy in anything. There's no whatever. It's like, she's like, oh, it's taken me almost 2 months to pack up the house. I said, yeah, but you've lived there for 20 years. So 20 years worth of crap for two months is not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? It took almost 2 months for me, and me and my husband were only together 5 years. I was like, but we have more people. So it took a lot. So, right. So, sometimes you again, I do it too. Like, I like my wanting to loom, and then my love for it, they like clash sometimes, where it's like, oh, all I want to do is sit down and loom, and then I just don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not feeling it. Like, I want to, but I'm not feeling what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm bored. It's like, all right, this is boring. Yeah, I want to finish it. Yeah, I want to just get it done. No, I'm not going to start another project, So, it happens. There are plenty of people of all skill levels, of all things, that have walked away from their loves and things like that, and then come back because they find a new love for it. Sometimes, when you're trying to keep loving something that right now you're not into for whatever reason it is. It's time to say, okay, let me be an adult, and say, okay, I'm gonna put it down, I'm gonna put it away, you know, and maybe offset. That's why, like, I noticed that, like, people who are crafty, like, are into, like, 80,000 different kinds of crafts, you know what I'm saying? Like, my first crafting when I was a kid was, I was a jewelry maker. I made jewelry. You know, I would make, the lanyard bracelets and sell them. I'd make keychains with beads. I used to make, my mother used to say I used to make the most gorgeous combinations of the beads on the pins. Remember when you made safety pin bracelets? And you put the beads on the one side and then you strangle the pins together and you made all these really cool bracelets and necklaces and stuff like that. That was my introduction into crafting. You know, my mom was very, you know, very giving of it, you know. And then I moved on to other things, you know. I moved on to scrapbooking. I was really big into scrapbooking. I made scrapbooks for friends. I made scrapbooks for gifts. You know, I did a lot of scrapbooking. I had so much scrapbooking stuff a long, long time ago. And then I moved into soap making. I had a soap making business where I made soaps and lotions and lip balms and all this stuff. And then when my eldest was born, between the scrapbooking and the soaping, you know, it was just too much. I had to focus on being mom and doing those things. And, you know, eventually I gave and sold stuff away. And then I just moved into something else. It was just the, you know, the next thing that I was into, you know, and looming, you know, and I still obviously, you know, my jewelry making has gone into my, you know, my stitch markers and my abilities, you know, to like think outside the box. And it's like, okay, I want to make, you know, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, it comes and goes, ebbs and flows and things like that. You know, I look up stuff and I want to do and things like that. So sometimes maybe it's like shift the craft or do something completely different. Like I bought a Cricut. I have a Cricut machine. I played with it for a little while. I wanted it so bad. And then, you know, it's just sitting there right now because I don't have the mentality for the way that it is. You know what I'm saying? There's so much to do and so much to buy. And I was like, all right, listen, I'm already invested in a craft here, which is lots and lots of money. So, you know, that's going to have to kind of sit there for a little bit. You know, I did oils and things like that, and I thought that I could incorporate it, you know. But that's it, you know, you get that mindset. Maybe it's sometimes you need to move into something else, you know. I mean, and then come back to it or find something that goes along with it. But yeah, that's really all I can think of. So, I mean, if anyone has any questions for me specifically or just wants me to elaborate on anything I said, I know I talk really fast sometimes. So if I talk too fast, you know, write in big bold letters, please slow the fuck down. You know, it's fine. I do not get upset about those kind of things. My mother yells at me all the time. I'll be talking to her on the phone and she'd be like, Nikki, I can't understand you. Talk too damn fast. And I'm like, do you hear yourself on the phone? Like, really? Okay. You know, but she must yell at me like 6 times a phone call. So, yeah, you go do those womanly things. Go birth some babies and, I don't know, make some sandwiches and shit. I'm all about being a woman, but I'm all about, you know, it's a two-way street. You know, my husband would never be like that. So, I don't think I've ever been with a guy or even remotely. Well, no, I can't say it. Well, no, I can. I've never been like friends with somebody that's so misogynistic that I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand you. You need to go away. So I can't put up with that crap. So I was a woman in a man's world for a long time. I was an electrician. So it was me, you know, and all of these men all the time. So, you know, it was sink or swim. You know, I grew up with my dad. I would say I was a daddy's girl, but I wasn't like my sister's like a daddy's girl, like, you know, pretty princess, you know, where I was like a huge tomboy. Like I went, you know, when I was with my dad, I was like the son my dad never had. You know, I wanted to hang out with the boys. I wanted to hang out with my dad's, you know, guy friends and, you know, hang out during softball and be a guy, you know. It's like, you know, and I would give my dad's friends shit and my dad would laugh and be like, don't fuck with my kid, she'll fuck you up. You know. You know, I used to do the books for my dad's softball team. You know, I'd sit there and do the books, and the guys would come in and be like, you gave me an error. I'm like, that guy should have caught that ball. That was bullshit. You should have been out. Yes, I gave you an error. You know, and I'd be fighting with adults. So, but anyway. So, the other thing was, I know Amy asked about, like, watching and listening when I'm looming. I think everybody has their thing. I've seen people, you know, listen to audiobooks. Some people watch TV. On a personal level, I watch YouTube. I pay to have no commercials on my YouTube because I like the amount of different things that I can kind of watch in snippets, anywhere from 5 to a half hour, sometimes an hour if it need be, you know. But I gravitate more towards, like, true crime and horror and paranormal. Those are my favorite things to, like, listen about. So I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. I've always been interested in true crime. I guess I missed a calling at some point. I probably should have been a detective because I was always really good at that. I was always really good at reading people when I meet them, and I was always really good at, like, sniffing out bullshit. I still am. You know, there's a rule in this house, like, especially, like, when my kids or anybody tries to lie to me, I'm like, why do you bother? Why do you bother trying to lie to me? Because I catch you all the time. So either you're really shitty at it, or I'm just really good at catching it. So, and I think it's a little bit of both. But so, but yeah, that's normally what I like to do. I prefer to put on something that I don't necessarily have to look at, because when I'm looming, I have to look. So if I put on something that's too interesting, or something that I have to look at the TV for, like a lot of my paranormal videos are like that. So, like, I'll I'll watch one of those when I'm, like, trying to take a rest or take a break, you know, because I have to focus on, it's like, oh, where is that? Where's the ghost? Where is it? Oh, I caught it. I see it, you know, or, you know, oh, I'm watching that. And it's like, oh, that's bullshit. That's fake or whatever. But, like, I have to look at the TV for that, like true crime and stuff like that. I don't have to necessarily look at the TV. So, yeah, I'm a sci-fi nerd too, but I'm not like a real sci-fi person. Like, I don't care about, like, real, like, my husband does. Like, if there's anything on space or science-y or, you know, anything like that, you know, like, even aliens, like, I'm not big into aliens, you know, like, if there's, like, a thing about aliens, I might turn it on, but, like, he'll like that Ancient Alien show, or, you know, he subscribed to this 3 phases of the moon thing, and it's, like, this conspiracy theory with, like, aliens, and, like, what the government's hiding from aliens, and all this other stuff. It's funny, because, like, he doesn't necessarily believe, but I guess he just likes to, you know, he believes that there's got to be something else in the universe, but, like, whether there's, you know, greys running around, you know, kidnapping people and anally probing them is not necessarily how he looks at it. But, you know, like, because he's military and stuff like that, we've been talking, because it keeps coming up every so often about the UFOs that the Navy released, you know, finally admitting that there are aliens, and it's like, that's not what they're saying. A UFO is an unidentified flying object. That does not mean that there are little green Martians running around and flying things and things like that. Nobody's admitting to that part. But, so, I mean, I don't know what anybody else, you know, watches. So if anybody wants to, you know, put up in the chat what they watch or listen to, you know, you listen to music and stuff like that. That might be cool. You know, I listen to all genres of music, but I prefer to do that, like, when I can move around. Music makes me want to move. So, like, I can't put music on and be sitting still and looming. You know, if I can loom and dance at the same time, that'd be pretty freaking cool. It'd probably look really ridiculous. But, hi, Iris. Yeah, like I said, music is, like, my, like if I'm cleaning or, you know, I'm busy doing something, then I'll listen to music. You know, if I'm trying to, like, seriously focus on something, then I need something that, like, if it's in the background, my brain will shut it out, and it'll just become like the Peanuts, and it'll be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what's going on, because I'm just, like, I'm focused in what I'm doing. So, I noticed that, like, a lot of us are on the same wavelengths, you know. Most of us are, like, sci-fi, you know, spooky, you know, like, that, you know what I'm saying? You know, I don't hear much people be like, hey, I watch, daytime soap operas. Not that you don't. I'm just, like, usually when this question comes up, you've got more people that are like, oh, I do my audiobooks and I'm listening to these horror books, or I'm watching this horror movie, or I'm watching that, or this like that, like if you can tell, if you can spot my little horror icons and stuff like that. He's too hard to see from the way the camera is, but my husband made that. I don't know if you can see him. There's the Slender Man on the top there. He actually made that for my son for school. It was like Crazy Hat Day, and it's Slender Man with the pom-poms of the school colors and the T for the school. So yeah, we've talked about the X-Files. Like, I wasn't a big X-Files person. I enjoyed the episodes that were not conspiracy related. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of the episodes where you can just pop in and get what's going on and, pop back out and not worry about it. The ones that were, like, conspiracy oriented and the overarching story was always so muddy and ugly for me that I just kind of gave up on it. I was like, all right, I don't want to be bothered. So, and I enjoy story. Like, if my stuff is going to have a story, have a story. If you're going to be isolated every episode, I'm fine with that too, but don't try to do them both at the same time and just fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? Either you got to have it all, or you can't have both. So, the funny thing about Spanish soap operas. So, when I was younger, I was in theater. I was a theater kid, and I was in school, and my teacher was trying to explain to us that about body language and hand movements and just the way you express yourself means a lot more and can convey a lot more than the actual words that you use. So what he did was, for like a week straight during class, we had to watch Spanish soap operas and write down what's going on. And no cheating, because everyone had to say whether or not they understood Spanish or not. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, all right, like, these two people are having this romantic moment. Is that, what is going on? And, like, write dialogue in English just by their movements and their, how they were, everything was going, from the tone of their voice. So it's like, all right, yes, we cannot understand the actual words of what they do, but are they conveying the story to us, even though we can't understand Spanish? So, which... it does, you know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, telenovelas are, I know that they get a bad rap for that over-exaggeration, but that's part of the love of it, but that's it. It's like that, when you're doing theater, there's a lot of over-exaggeration because you're trying to convey something to someone that is coming off from nowhere, you know what I'm saying? So for you to care about my character, things like that, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, that guy's married to that one, and that one's, that one's brother, and they're like twins, but from another mother, and it's weird, and that one took its face off, and they had a baby, now the baby's 25, and you're like, oh, what? But if someone's on the floor, like, oh, I'm dying, oh my God, it's my twin brother, don't kidnap me, don't kill me, you know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be a little bit over dramatic stuff going on. So, which one is the time travel one? First Contact. That was the first Next Generation movie. That was the First Contact movie where they have to make sure that the guy goes up into space so that the Vulcans see him, and then the Vulcans land on Earth so that everything goes the way it's supposed to. So, I love Trek. Like, Trek has a special place in my heart. Like, the original series, like, my first introduction to, like, sci-fi, my grandfather, my dad's father, who was also passed at this point, he used to watch Star Trek, and he used to have a Spock and Kirk doll, and I used to play with them. They used to be in the drawer, and he just had those two. They were his, but he always let me play with them, and I'd sit there and I'd watch Star Trek with him, and it was like, that was like the thing, and I always remember that. I watched some of Next Generation. I watched DS9. And then I was kind of out after that. I've seen all of the movies. It's actually funny. I have pictures somewhere in a video somewhere of when Anthony was born. So that's 15 years ago. Nemesis had just come out on DVD, and I have him in his little baby chair or whatever, and he is like glued to the screen watching Nemesis. And I was like, my kid's gonna be a Trekkie. So, but I like Star Wars too. Like, I like whatever. Like, I don't feel like there has to be like, like those people are like, we're Trekkies, we're Star Wars people, and we have to like somehow have a hatred for each other. But I like everything. I like Doctor Who. Again, I used to watch the old Doctor Who with my mom on Channel 13, you know, and I, Claudius. If anyone knows I, Claudius, you're my hero, because I say that and people are like, what is that? And if you've never seen I, Claudius, you need to see it. You need to see it. It is absolutely amazing. It's done on a play stage, in a sense. Not that you can see that it's a stage, but it's done with stage acting. It's done, you know, it's not done like a movie or a proper TV show. It's literally done like a stage production in the way it's done. Brian Blessed is in it. It's all about the rise and fall of Claudius and all the stuff that went on, and it's so good. It's probably dated at this point, but even then it's still really good, and especially if you love Brian Blessed, it's amazing. So, well, see, and zombies are like, you know, like a lot of people were like, oh my god, because I love zombies, but everyone's like, oh, are you watching The Walking Dead? I'm like, no, I don't care. You know, and everyone's like, how could you not be watching that show? And I'm like, I don't care. Just doesn't interest me. You know, but I watched Supernatural on TV. I watched Vampire Diaries when it was on to a point, and then I got bored of it. I watched the originals. I liked it, like, sometimes, again, same with Looming. I'll watch a TV show for a couple of seasons, and then, like, if, like, I hit that shit season, I, like, all right, I'm checked out, and then I'll come back in, and then I'll watch, you know, and I'll go back up, and I'll watch whatever. You know, like, I'm a big Buffy person, but I definitely stopped watching Buffy, after the 3rd season, and then I came back in around the 5th season, and then I basically checked out again, after the Dawn season, and then came back just for the end because I knew the show was ending. So it's like I wanted to watch the ending of the show. I wanted to watch it send off itself. I didn't watch Angel. I found no enjoyment on that show at all. I don't think I ever liked the Angel Buffy dynamic anyway. I liked him better when he was Angelus and he was bad. I think he played a much better bad guy anyway. So, see, I'm not a very comedy oriented person unless it's cartoonish. Like, if it's cartoonish, then I don't mind comedy. But, like, comedy shows, I'm not, like, I don't give two rats about Friends or Seinfeld. I never watched any of those shows. Maybe when I was a kid, I did watch Golden Girls. That was, you know, I did watch that. But as an adult, like, if my husband and my son, like, watch comedy movies, because my eldest son doesn't like horror, so, like, it's like, all right, you go watch the comedy movie with Brendan, and then he'll watch a horror movie with me, or whatever. So, you know, or, like, if something winds up being funny, and it's not meant to be funny, like, there's, like, these horror movies, they're called the Bad movies, they're on Amazon. The intent originally was not to be funny, and they're effing hysterical. So it's become a parody of itself because it's so funny. But, you know, and see, again, Breaking Bad, like super over dramatic stuff I don't like either. I guess it's not that I don't like it, I can't say that because I did like SVU, but again, I never faithfully SVU was on this time. It was like, oh, hey, look, I've got nothing to do. SVU marathon is on, especially like when I used to be doing papers for college and stuff like that. I would throw that on in the background. Because again, you can come in and out and there's not have to worry. It's like, you know, here's the beginning of the story, here's the end of the story, there's an hour of your life, you're done. But I prefer my things to not be realistic, and that's just because it's like, all right, I live in the real world, I don't like to watch the news, I know there's those things that go on for real, you know, like the 911 shows and all these other things like that, like, you know, I'll listen to 911 calls, like, on, like, YouTube, like, you know, it's like, oh, this was the 911 call, and it's like, oh, what happened, they didn't show up in time, and this person got murdered, or whatever, like, because that's, like, a true crime thing, not, like, so, hi.
I can put that on my hair.
Can I put that on your hair?
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
Hold it, Devin.
All right, come here.
I can see it this studio. I could.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to put up Rory's hair.
Whoa, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It can go down or up.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's for. All right, there you go. If you want, take it for your iPad. I'll take it back from you later. So, she's amazed by my stylus.
I called it, it's called?
A stylus.
A stylus?
Yep.
Whoa.
Okay.
It's called stylus.
My husband always he's like, stop being so damn cute. Like, she could be doing like the worst thing in the world and she's just too damn cute. You're just like, I want to scream at you, but you're so damn cute. But anyway, I hurt my lip there. So, see, and that's good that it has, like, you know, you can watch it several times and things like that. I like things that I can watch several times and, like, you pick up new things, like, that you didn't notice before. One of my all-time favorite shows is Babylon 5. If you're a sci-fi person and you've never seen Babylon 5, you are missing something amazing. It is an amazing show. It wasn't an amazing show. It went on during the same time as DS9. So, like, if you were a Trekkie, you were probably like, you know, we're watching DS9. We're not going to watch Babylon 5. But Babylon 5 has literally 2 continuity errors. And that's if you count the pilot. And that's it. And the show from season 1 is setting up shit in season 4. It's like, it blows your mind because, like, some of the things, like, the first season, I always tell people, the first season is great, and if you watch it on an isolated incident, and you're like, all right, there's these weird little hanging things that you're like, where's that going? And you're like, it's like, all right, don't worry about it right now, just go through. And then season 2, it's like, boom, the show just takes off and does not stop. So, and then when you get around season 5, it's trying to tell the story, but it's kind of like dying because the concept of the place is dying. So if you take it that way, you'll understand. But I don't know where you can watch it because Amazon just took it off last week because you were able to watch the entire thing on Amazon for free, but now you can't. What else? I'm trying to see. My daughter moved my post, so I can't see what my next topic was. So, the other thing was... Hold on. I know Jackie popped on and said something. I want to see what she said because she did it after I made my post. Oh, okay. So, like, how to start looming again when you lose your mojo. I think we kind of covered that one in a sense. It's still kind of the, like, when you're stressed and aggravated. So, the original Battlestar Galactica or the reboot, remake, whatever the hell you want to call it. Because that's like V. V was good. But I prefer the remake better. But then again, what is her name? Morena Baccarin. She was on Firefly. She plays the super hot alien that's trying to convince everyone that she's a good guy, and they know that she's kind of not. So, yeah, I mean, Battlestar Galactica, the original, again, it's dated at this point. Like, if you try to go back and watch it, you're like, oh my god, how did anybody like this? But for the time, it was what it was. And the story is still really good, and it's still there. You know, and then the remake had its issues because it was like, all right, we're going to put females in the male roles and just flip them. And it was just like, are we doing that for the sake of fucking doing it? But those women killed those roles, so you know what, fuck it, nobody cares. I don't like when they flip things, gender swapping just for the shits and giggles of it. Like, give me a reason. I'm okay with it, but like, give me a reason why you're doing it. You know, if we're just gonna stick people in roles just to represent that, you're placating me, and that pisses me off. Like, don't placate me, and I'm not a moron. So, that's right. She was on Stargate. She absolutely was on Stargate. Again, not a big show that I watched, which is funny because I like the main characters. He was MacGyver. I can't think of the actor's name. So, and I did like MacGyver when I was a kid. Somehow this is going to talk into, like, all the TV shows. But it's so sad. Like, you ever, like remember, like, a place in your heart is like, oh, I used to love this. I used to love it. And then, like, somehow it, like, pops up on TV. And you're like, oh, my God, it's I can watch it. I can binge watch it. And you watch it and you'll be like, this is bad. How did I ever love this? You know? Like, it just doesn't hold water anymore. It just doesn't hold up. You know, maybe that's why I love cartoons so much, because no matter what, like, they don't feel necessarily dated, if that makes any sense, you know, because even though, like, technology and, like, colors are more vibrant and things like that, like, it's still Richard Dean Anderson. There you go. Did you have to look that up, or did you know? But, you know, cartoons always hold more for me, you know. And I'm not saying I'm not unequivocally undisappointed when I watch certain things. Like, you know, I love He-Man and She-Ra, but I think now it's kind of dated. And the Thundercats too, you know. It's like, I just, like, it has a whole, like, it has that special place where it's like, okay, I loved it, I watched it, I enjoyed it then. You know, when they tried to make the remake of She-Ra, I watched one episode and I was like, all right, I'm out. But like The Last Unicorn is one of my favorites, you know, and I could watch that 100 times and that story doesn't change for me, because the idea that's really behind that story, like what is beauty, what is love, what is being different mean, like it has a transcendent story that's not limited to the time frame it was made and things like that. Like, again, some of the things that are dated is because they're tackling issues that were then and they're not necessarily applicable now. I think that's why sci-fi works, because sci-fi is very political. If you ever notice, like a lot of sci-fi stuff is very political because it can be relevant continuously. You know, like Babylon 5, it's like you can switch, like when the show was made, you can be like, okay, that nation is this one and that one's that one and that one. You know, you can kind of place them in that era, but then you could take it out of that time and put it in this time and be like, okay, so this is this and this is, and you know, we can have that kind of conversation. I know. I don't watch a lot of necessarily new TV either. Like my mom's a big person. She'd be like, oh, did you see that new show? Like she was trying to get me to watch The Watchmen. And I was like, I watched the movie and I can't get the time of my life back. And it was terrible. And she's like, and I only watched it for Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like, and he died in the first 10 seconds. Spoiler, sorry. If you were going to watch it, it's been out a very, very, very long time. So unless you want to see blue penis, I don't understand why you would watch that movie. It's terrible. Read the comic. It's so much better. But, you know, whatever. My mom watched the show on TV and I was just like, she's like, oh, you know, it's one of those things where people think I'll be into something just because I loved comic books and I love sci-fi and I love this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, just because I love genres doesn't mean that I want to watch everything that comes out for it, you know? So, you know, and when you have kids, you have like a really short attention span sometimes because it's like constantly, Mom, this, that, you know, so it's like I can't sit down and watch something. And my husband, I'm like kryptonite to my husband. So like if him and I start watching something and like we're in bed and we'll watch something, he's sleeping. If he was downstairs watching TV by himself, he'd be up all night. But as soon as he gets in the bed with me, he's like, well, you make me feel comfortable. I'm like, yeah, well, it fucking sucks watching anything with you though. So a lot of shows have fallen by the wayside because it's like I've given up dealing with him because like, all right, he fell asleep and I didn't notice he fell asleep, so now I'm an episode ahead and I don't want to go back and watch, or how many times I have to watch things over and over again because he's, you know, missing out on something. So, but you know, what was the other thing? There was one other thing before I was going to skip around. What was the other thing? Oh, so Amy posted how to deal with rude people in your home. That's not exactly how she phrased it, but that's kind of, I'm going to like lump it in that way. She had specifically had said about people talking politics when they know that your politics are different than theirs. And I totally understand that because my mom is like that. My mom is more liberal, or at least she likes to think she's more liberal than she is at times. You know, sometimes she's really not. You know, she wants to be woke and, you know, all for women's rights and all of these things, but sometimes she's just as bad as like people who just share shit on Facebook and don't actually read stuff. So like she gets her information from like one area and like one set of things, like, you know, like she'll read the New Yorker and think that she's amazingly woke about an issue, and it's like, yeah, but you don't have, you know, pull a different opinion in, even if you don't agree with that opinion, like look at the other side of the opinion, not just the argument to argue, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, well, I'm not really hearing you because I'm so focused that this is right and anything other than this is fucking wrong. Like, I hate that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have very different, you know, opinions. I have very strong beliefs about things, but that it will never stop me from listening to someone within reason. And I only say within reason because if you're going to sit there and just be a dick about it and we're not having a conversation, you're just basically trying to get me to shut up or trying to insult me or things like that, and we're not going to have a dialogue, we're not going to have a legitimate conversation and say, you know, all right, well, you know, whether you see each other's point or just like agree to disagree, I'm fine with like, all right, look, we're not going to get anywhere, let's agree to disagree and walk away. You know, it's that person that just wants to keep hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering at you, and because you're fucking wrong and they're fucking right and you're fucking a moron, you know, and they're so woke and you're so fucking asleep, and it's like, you know what, I can't have that, you know what I'm saying? I have lots of friends with, well, you can always watch the playback, so there was some good information about, how to hold looms, how to get your mojo back, you know, whether or not having multiple projects. So there was some really good information towards the beginning of the thing. So you can definitely, because I always post it, so you can always go back and watch the replay and catch that stuff. But for right now, we're talking about, Amy had asked me to talk about, you know, people that come into your home or come into your space, you know, that have obviously opposing points of view, and bringing it up for that purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they always say no politics at the dinner table. You know, it's like you have your family over and everybody's over, and you always got that one dumbass aunt or uncle or cousin or whatever that wants to be like, hey, let's talk about politics, so that the whole fucking family dinner goes to shit because everyone wants to kill each other. You know, it's like, yo, not the time and place for that. You know, I had a couple of those through the years, you know, because my uncle was very staunch Republican for a long time, and my dad was very Democrat because he was in the union, and the union, you know, when you're union, it's kind of like, it's like this beat it in mindset that, you know, you have to vote Democrat, you have to be, you know, whatever. Like when I had mentioned it before, like I got really pissed because I was registered as a liberal when I was younger. I was, you know, younger, and I had those younger beliefs. You know, there were certain things about life that I felt differently about then than I do now because I have a family and kids. They're just, you grow up and, you know, I'm not saying that they're not grown-ups. I don't know. That was a bad way to put it. But your life changes, so your views and your points of views and the things that matter to you change. You know what I'm saying? When you're a single person living on your own and, you know, you can have a little bit more carefree of a life, you certain more issues you care about compared to other issues, you know? Right, there's absolutely a time and place, you know, and my thing is, when you know that you're not going to have an intelligent discussion, it can't be said. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can sit down and somebody can have a political conversation and be on two different sides of the fences and literally have, you know, a conversation and go back and forth. Now, you don't have to accept what they're saying and things like that, you know, but once it starts to get heated and things like that, it's like, okay, it's got to go. It's got to stop. It's non-productive. How about that? It's non-productive. You know, I tell my husband all the time, because my husband can be really smart, but he's very opinionated, and he can come off really, really brash, and I used to be like that, and that's how I understand. It's funny because he's older than I am, but I've become more wise in my life. Right, agree to disagree. But I become more wise in my life where, like, certain things are not worth it. Like, I will get to a point with a certain person, and then I'll be like, I'm not going to even talk to you anymore because I don't talk to a wall. I'm not going to sit here and talk to the wall. I'm not going to talk to you because it's the same fucking thing, because we're not getting anywhere. We're not even remotely, you know, this isn't a conversation. You're yelling at me. I'm yelling at you. You know, we've degraded into name calling. It's done. It's absolutely fucking done. You know, so like sometimes I'll agree with certain things that he'll think of, but I won't agree with the way he puts it or the way he says it. And I'm like, well, that's a shitty way to put it. You know, like he had a bunch of his female friends attack him years ago because he had made a statement on Facebook and was talking about a woman who was breastfeeding in the subway system. And he wasn't against breastfeeding, but he thought that, all right, why would you feed your child in the New York City subway? Like, to him, it was just like, as a man, looking at like, as a father, saying, all right, you're dirty, in a dirty place, you're gonna feed your child. And it's like, he worded it, like, and again, I'm not agreeing with him completely. I get where he's coming from. It's like, all right, it's dirty. I get that, whatever. You know what? But when your kid is screaming, your kid needs to eat, fuck off. And if I'm going to whip my tit out, and I didn't breastfeed, you know, that everybody, their opinion. Again, that was his opinion. But the biggest problem was that he very malely whip out her tit. And I was like, and you've lost all credibility at that point because you said it that way. I was like, that was such a fucking disgusting way to say it. I was like, and nothing you say from now on is going to make anybody listen to you because you started off as an asshole. You know what I'm saying? It's like, maybe somebody might have been like, okay, yeah, it's disgusting. Maybe she cleaned, you know, the baby's hungry. You know, we can have a conversation, but he started off with the wall and it was over at that point. So like when all his female friends were attacking him and he's like, ooh, I'm like, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. So I'm not even going to dignify helping you because you're a jerk. So, you know, but again, it's all about how you talk to somebody, and with the element of online, there's so much room for misunderstandings, because, I could sit here and be like, I'd be like, hey, Autumn, you're a bitch. And I hope I'm not offending you, I'm playing with you, So, like, it was like, or, like, say you weren't on, and I'd be like, oh, Autumn, she's such a bitch, man. It's so cool. And somebody, like, okay, you can go back and watch and be like, did she call me a bitch, or is she trying to be funny? Again, may not like it. We can have a conversation about that or whatever. But if I'm like, hey, hey, Autumn, you're a bitch, and I write it in a text message, you'd be like, what? Where did that come from? Why am I? And I'm sorry, Autumn, I'm picking on you because you're the last person that popped in. You can look into that. Like, maybe you're having a bad day, so you're pissed off, and you look, and it's like, oh, Nikki texted me, you're a bitch. The fuck is wrong with you? What curls up your ass today? It's like, what? I was, what the hell? And like, now you're fighting over nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way it's, yeah. I don't have my glasses on, and when I put my glasses on, it makes a reflection, so I have to kind of lean in to see what's written on the phone. But yeah, I had an English professor like that, where he was like, oh, well, if you convey your words properly, there's no room for misunderstanding. I said, that's not true. I was like, because if that was the case, you'd be out of a job, because we could all sit here and have a discussion about Shakespeare. So if Shakespeare wrote everything the way it was meant to be written, we wouldn't have a class, because it would be an open and shut thing. There is no such thing as interpretation of the word, because it's written. There's no one to say, okay, hey, Shakespeare, walk in here. Well, that's not what I meant. You know what I'm saying? It takes on a life of its own. Even if you meant, I know J.K. Rowling was talking about this, and I have issues with her. And I love Harry Potter, but I have issues with certain things. But, like, there were certain things that people saw and read into stuff that she had never meant. And you can't take that away from a person, because that is how they interpreted your work. You could sit there and say to the cows come home, that's not what I meant. But it's their personal interpretation of it, and there's not much you can do about it. So that matters, and without language, without speech, without that sound, it changes the way something is. So I can write a perfectly perfect sentence, and I can give it to 5 different people, and they can get 5 different things from it. It's just, again, how it's written, how they're taking it, how they hear it in their brain. Because when you read words, you give it a voice. Whether it's you reading it in your own mental voice, or if you know that person, it's like, all right, Autumn, if you like my voice, if I said you're a bitch, you hear my voice calling you a bitch. Now, you could hear it in a nasty way, you could hear it in a funny way, depends on how you want to hear it, And other people can interpret it. Like my best friend, I've called her a dork for years. You know what I'm saying? And we wound up in this religious group together, and they tried to tell her that, that's nasty, she's being nasty to you. And she's like, I've been friends with her for years. That is a playful term that my dad calls me. Her dad called her a dork. They didn't know that, but her dad called her a dork. That was his dork, his Dorcas. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh, now you gotta step off, because it's like, okay, what are you gonna try to say? Her dad is being mean to her? No. But, yes, body language too. Again, it gives that feeling, and no matter how well you mean to write something, and I've learned over the years how to write myself in a box per se. I had problems during college. I went to school online, so you can already see where there could be issue here. I went to school online, and I was a Christian studies major. So now not only are we online, everything is written form, we're talking about religion. So we're stacking the deck against us. So I had a professor. Now I went to school at Grand Canyon University. If anybody goes and Googles them, their mission statement is very PC. It's very, very broad. They don't subscribe to any one particular Christian religion, in the fact that, like, they're not Baptists, they're not this, they're not, it's Christianity as a whole. And we had a professor that had written, he had written a question that was, why was Luther correct in forming the Bible? Now, if you're a Catholic person, Luther's fucking wrong. Because if you have a Catholic Bible, you have 80 books in your Bible, you have the Apocrypha in your Bible. It's part of your understanding, it's part of your tradition, it's part of your Holy Bible. Now, if you're a Lutheran or pretty much most of the other ones, not counting like Mormons and whatever, because they have a completely different Bible, but the Apocrypha is missing from other versions. You know what I'm saying? Like the NIV version, that is missing. There's only 68 books. So I turned around to him and I was like, maybe you didn't mean to write that the way you wrote it, because we do have other religions here, you know. I know there was a Jehovah's Witness. It was very difficult to deal with that person. But one of the people that I become friends with, she's Catholic, and I know there were other people that are Catholic, so they don't believe that Luther was correct. So I was like, maybe you meant to word the question, why did Luther feel he was correct? Because we're learning about Luther, so to understand why. So it's like, okay, and he was standing on that hill, and he was dying on that hill, and that he did not write that wrong. And I'm like, well, you're alienating all of these other people and basically telling them that their form of Christianity is wrong, which is against the school. So we went on forever about this, and and he went and attacked these other people, and I sent him a private message within channels of the school, by the way, because this matters in this story, that I said to him, I said, listen, you're attacking people. I said, what you're doing is wrong, and all of this other stuff. And I had my ex-husband at the time help me, who was very good with language. So, like, he would proofread everything, and so that I was basically doing my very damnedest not to be insulting and just being very matter of the fact and, whatever. And this man just kept coming for me and kept coming for me and kept coming for me. He sent me private emails to my private email, not my school email, but my private email, which you're not supposed to have access to. Totally weird. So it got out of control by like the third week of school. I went to the school. I complained. They were like, all right, well, you gotta, you can drop the class. I said, I'm not gonna drop the class because then I lose my money. I lose everything and he gets to be a jerk. No way, not fair. By week 5, he posted, this was during I think it was the hurricane in Haiti. Somebody correct me. When everything happened in Haiti and it killed all those people in Haiti and all that other stuff.
The earthquake?
And was it an earthquake in Haiti?
Earthquake.
I'm sorry, the earthquake in Haiti.
Oh, by the way.
What? I don't know what that is.
No school.
Okay, cool. There's no school tomorrow. He had to come tell me. So anyway, Pat Roberts went on TV and made that asinine statement that, the people in Haiti deserve what they got, and blah, 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 blah. So he posted an article, after Louisiana. And this article basically said, the people of Louisiana are like the people in Haiti. They're God-hating, devil-worshipping, blah, 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 and they deserve what they got, which is a fucked up thing to say. I don't give a shit what religion you are. You are a fucked up human being if you're going to say that. So I had sent it to different people. Thank you. An earthquake. I sent that article to different people because I'm already at war with him. So again, anything that he sends me or anything I read by him, I'm reading as an attack anyway, because I'm pissed off at him and he is attacking me. So I'm like, okay, so I sent it to other people and I'm like, hey, please tell me what you read here. What do you get out of this? And everybody said the same thing. So I went back to school and I sent the school everything. Within 5 hours, the president of the school called me. The man was fired and we had a new teacher. And I was getting private emails from people going, you got him fired. Because they knew it was me, because I would fight with him on an open forum. I'm like, I'm not going to hide in emails. I would literally open for him. Be like, you cannot do this. This is wrong. Your belief system is fine, but you're not going to be able to teach in a school. You want to have Baptist beliefs, and that is you're going to die on that hill, then you need to teach at a Baptist school and teach those things. But if you're going to, in an open course, in an open curriculum where things are very PC and a broad range of Christianity, we're still talking about Mormons, we're still talking about whatever, and things like that, where some people are like, oh, well, that's like a cult. And he called them a cult. I'm like, you can't do that. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what I believe or whatever. You cannot call them that in the confines of this conversation. It's not happening. So again, long story short is this back and forth of, because I never spoke to him on the phone and never whatever. It was like, again, this constant going back and forth and, and no matter how much I wrote and tried to make sure that I didn't give avenues for him to like say that I'm being mean or being nasty or whatever the case may be. He found any loophole that he could through that because that's the way he wanted to read it. So I want to just read what you guys wrote. Your friend thought she was going to get fired over an email. Doesn't want to open that one up. Come on. Oh, it hates me. There we go. Yeah, you know, and like, again, you can never understand how somebody's going to take something. You know what I'm saying? That's why I prefer to talk to people than I do to write, because I feel like I have less of a problem with people when they can hear and see me than when I write, because I feel like that they can take anything out of context and they can just use it as they want. And we've all seen that. We've seen that happen. So yeah, Janine, again, like, you know, that's everybody's preference. You know what I'm saying? I actually started my life out. My father was an altar boy. My mom went to Catholic school, and both of them, by the time they were done, they wanted nothing to do with it. Like, we were not raised religious in any way, shape, or form. If anything, we were kind of raised anti-religion. My mother was always like, you know, she believes in she believes that there's something out there. She doesn't know what it is. More of like a karma effect, like what you put out into the universe stays out into the universe and things like that. But I had become a Christian in such a weird way because I didn't believe, you know, my biggest argument for the Bible was, well, if you want to tell me that Jesus died on a cross for my sins, then I can tell you Hansel and Gretel went into the woods and, you know, the witch was pushed into an oven. What's the difference? It's a damn story. If I want to believe that that's my truth and I'm going to die on that hill, then so be it. You know, and then when I found what I found and things like that, and again, I fight with Christians more than I fight with anybody else in the world. Because, again, you know, when you got people that are so dead set on certain things and whatever, you know, I'm about language. I took, you know, to heart the understanding of understanding biblical language and learning from the original scriptures to the translations to what words meant in the day that they were translated compared to what words mean now, you know, and all of that matters, and interpretations matter and things like that. So, yeah, always, you know, the people that know you the best should know that even if they see something that they don't like, they're like, is she okay? You know, because I'll get that sometimes. I'll get people that'll message me and they'll be like, hey, you okay? And I'm like, why? I'm like, well, you posted something really weird and it seemed weird. And I'll be like, oh, well, you know, maybe it was just whatever or something like that, you know. You know, so it you know, you never know, you know, so if something definitely seems weird. But I think we've created a culture that wants to be offended, and I feel like that divide where we're trying harder and harder to get closer together, we're coming further and further apart because there's a lack of real contact. That's why I like doing the live, you know what I'm saying? Because you guys can see me, you can see my face, you can hear me, you know. Still don't have to agree with the fucking thing I say, and that's fine, you know, but I want to put it out there the best way I feel that I can, you know, best way for you to understand it and understand me. But there's always going to be somebody that's mad. There's always going to be somebody that's offended. There's always going to be somebody that's, you know, going to look to take, you know, what you have and turn it around and be offended by it. And I find that more and more these days. You know, I've known people long periods of time in life and where we were so fine for such a long time, and now the internet, and it's like, again, they just, like, you see certain things and you're just like, what? Like, are you serious right now? Like, you kidding me? You know, I had to text a friend the other day because I miswrote something on Facebook, and the way I read it, I thought it was calling her a bitch because my husband read it and he's like, did you just call Sandy a bitch on Facebook? And I'm like, what? No. He's like, you better go read what you wrote. And I went back and I read it. And I'm like, oh my God, it looks like and she didn't read it that way at all because she knows I would never do that to her. So she read it as a different thing. She thought I was whatever. But, you know, I text her. I'm like, oh my God, I just read what I wrote and I didn't call you a bitch. I'm so sorry. And she's like, what? I didn't take it that way, you know, but you never know nowadays. So, you know, you have to live your truth. You have to, you know, be honest to yourself, you know, and you know what? Sometimes you don't have to put everything out there either. It's just, like I said, sometimes you're not going to sit there and talk to a wall. Why are you just going to keep going back and forth with somebody on Facebook? It's just, all you're doing is making each other angry, and all you're doing is creating that divide bigger. They're not listening to you anyway, so it's enough, you know. That's where I learned. Biggest thing I learned was when enough is enough. And when is like, okay, if people are going to be rude, if they're going to whatever, like, I'm just going to shut it down. I'm just going to shut it down. It's just not going to be, you know. So, yeah, you know, it's the way it is, you know. And but here's my biggest thing, and I think this is what Amy was, because I kind of got off track, and I always bring myself back. You know, if somebody comes into your home and obviously is going to bring up hot button topics, and, you know, again, I have no issue with shutting people down. Like, it's like, all right, enough. Shut it down. Not having this. We're not doing this, and whatever. You don't like it, there's the door. This is my house. You respect my rules. You respect my thing. You know, and groups are like that too. Like, I've noticed a lot lately where people join groups. So, like, I'm the admin of this group with Teddy, Debbie, and Jackie, and Amy's the admin. The rules are posted. We're not really dickish about the rules. But if you're going to break the rules and you're going to argue with me about the rules, you came into my house. You don't get to dictate back to me the rules. This is my house. You came into my house. You don't like it. There's the door. So I've noticed this with a lot of other groups where people want to tell other people how to run their groups or change their rules to suit them. And where the hell do you get off? You just came into someone else's home and you're basically going to try to rearrange their furniture, try to tell them how to be a fucking parent, how to cook a meal. Leave. You don't have to be in my home. Leave. Go somewhere else. Go to your own home. Create your own group. Do whatever the fuck you want. But don't come in here and shit on shit and expect me to change and kiss your ass. That's not going to happen either. You know, my friend group is really small, and I keep it that way for a reason, because I don't have the time of the day, especially because of my illness, and I'm not using that as like an excuse for things, but I don't have time for that shit. I cannot get myself worked up in a fucking tizzy over nothing anymore. You know, when I was younger and I could fight till the cows come home and fight till I was blue in the face and whatever the case may be, I need the energy to take care of my children, to run my home, to barely deal with my husband. Because I don't want to deal with somebody's shit either, you know, and my best friend, because she lives here. That's it. Like, so outside those four walls, if shit starts going on Facebook, I'm not having it. I just don't want to hear it, you know. Go on your own fucking feed, say what you want on your own feed. You don't like what I have to say, fucking leave. That's it. You know what I'm saying? This is my house, you know, that's it. This is my house. You don't like it, leave. I'm not leaving my house, so what makes you think that that's okay to even ask? You know, and that's really what it comes down to. You know, so for that, you know, it's hard not to get mad, and it's hard not to let things bother you. But sometimes, at some point in your life, you know, whether it be now or later, at some point you're going to realize there's just some shit that's just not worth it. It's just not worth your time. So, absolutely. You know, up until the last, over a month ago, this group was a closed group. I'm the one that asked to open it so that I can, you know, have this conversation, because there's a lot more new people than there was years ago. But we closed the group because it's like, okay, we're a very specific kind of bunch of people. We like to swear, we like to curse, we like to post stupid stuff and things like that. And a lot of groups don't allow that. And that's fine. Those are their rules, and that's their groups, and that's absolutely. And I'm in a ton of groups. But when I want to do certain things, I post them in this group. You know what I'm saying? I want to have intelligent conversation with some of the people that are here. I want to bring up a topic, or I want to say something. You don't like it, you don't have to participate. There's what? I don't know how many people are in this group. I hit a hot button topic. Most people just don't bother. You know what I'm saying? Once in a blue moon, I'll get somebody that wants to go toe-to-toe with me and argue with me and whatever. I don't care anymore. Like, whatever. I'm not dealing with it. I'm posting it. You don't like it, leave. I'm not going to get rid of you. I'm not going to silence you. I'm not going to whatever. But after a while, I'm done. And if the other admins shut you down, just know that it wasn't me, because I don't care enough. That requires me to give a shit, and I don't. So, but, the very last topic, and this has kind of been coming around in a circle, and I'm going to be kind of brief about it because it's already 9:30. Is there's this constant issue of theft, and, you know, what it means to steal things from people, and there's just a lot of bullshit, and a lot of people understand what the bullshit is, and I will absolutely tell you, this is not the first time this bullshit has happened. It's not going to be the last time this bullshit happens. It just is what it is. So the best way to do it is not to feed into it, not to perpetuate it, whatever. If you have your beliefs and things like that, so be it. Again, sometimes you're not going to change people. The best thing to do is just to support the person that you support, know the truth. That person knows their truth. And eventually, I don't give a crap what you believe. I'm going to tell you somehow, some way it comes back. And it doesn't have to be a spiritual thing. It doesn't have to be a godly thing. It doesn't have to be whatever. Sometimes those people just get it back themselves because they can't stop doing certain things. And eventually it will come back and bite you in the ass. May not be now, may not be later, whatever. Look at Harvey Weinstein. He built an entire empire. Tons of people knew what he was doing. And like, that whole culture was disgusting. He thought he was going to get away with it forever. And he never thought that this was going to happen. Because he was just going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And women came out. Look at Rose McGowan. She absolutely fucking lost her mind trying to fight that man. Nobody believed her. Now she's like, hey, I fucking told you so. You're all stupid. But, it will come. Because those people can't help but keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Because they can't help themselves. Because they're so high on their own shit. And they don't think that they're wrong. They don't think that they're touchable. They think that they can just keep on doing what they're doing. And it'll come. It'll come regardless. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a higher power. Those people will eat themselves. They will put themselves in a position where they basically outed themselves because they just can't stop. So, it's sad where we can't have nice things because of that. But yeah, absolutely. What goes around comes around. I think the problem with that is how people feel the timing of it is, And I've learned over time, like I have arguments with people about being a victim. And my truth out there is I've been raped, and I never felt like a victim per se. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a survivor, which I feel is a different. And, tons of people are like, oh, well, I'll go beat the guy up. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. I'm like, nah. Not fucking worth it. Not worth it. And I'll tell you, it took years, but it came around. It came around. So, I didn't have to do a fucking thing. I didn't have to get anybody else involved. Nobody else had to get hurt. Nobody, whatever. It's not like, I didn't say anything. That's not what I mean. I wasn't like, oh, hey, I'm going to keep quiet or whatever. No, I made sure that I said what I had to say, but I didn't pursue it on such levels that I felt that it was going to do anything, especially at the age and the time and whatever. It's how I felt. And I've seen other things from other people. It always seems to come around. Just maybe not now. You don't realize that there's so much shit that's going to fall on their head. It's going to come. So, I live in Pennsylvania. No, it's fine. So, I'm originally from New York. I was born and bred in Brooklyn. So, but I live in Pennsylvania now. So, I was originally a New York girl. So, but, so like, and, and you're going to see a lot of things. If you go to Lumahat's page on the web, so it's lumahat.com, she has a thing posted there that, you're going to see similar things because you're going to, you're talking about knits and pearls, and it's just a matter of defining knits and pearls, and all of the things are based and built on those building blocks. So, yes, you're going to find things similar. Yes, you're going to find things that look alike and things like that. And sometimes you're going to find downright shit that is just ripped the fuck off. It's, unless you're going to pursue it on a level of monetary gain, or you're going to take it to that point. And even then, I've looked into many things, if you change it slightly, if you do certain things, that person is still going to, win out to a degree. If you just keep doing what you're doing, if you're doing the right thing, you don't have to worry about other people. I know it's really hard to turn off that noise. It really is, and it's hurtful to your heart, to your soul. When you know that you're being a good person and you're getting shit on and other people don't know you were shitting on you, it sucks. I've been there. Totally been there. You know, for different reasons, you know, like when I was in school, you know, I was, you know, I'm a whore, I'm a this, I'm a that. I've been shit on a million times. And it's like, you know what? Fuck you, I know who I am. Fuck you, I know what happened. And I'm just going to keep fucking living my life. And eventually you and your noise are going to go away anyway, because it eventually if you don't keep feeding into it, they've got nothing to go to. You know what I'm saying? I remember this girl, she was like so intent on fighting me. Like, I mean, literally for days she was harassing me. And I don't even fucking know who she was. I swear to God. I had no idea who she was. She's like, I saw you talking to my boyfriend. I'm like, who's your boyfriend? Because I don't even know who you are, let alone your boyfriend. So if I was talking to your boyfriend, I'm fucking sorry, but I don't even know who you're talking about. You know, and she followed me home one day, and I just got so mad, and I just turned around to her, and I'm like, what the fuck do you want from me? She's like, I want to beat your ass. So I said, here's my face. Go ahead. So she fucking punched me. And I looked at her. I said, are you good now? Good, because I'm done. And I walked away. I let her punch me in the face, which all my friends were like, I cannot believe you did that. And I just walked away. She had nothing to do at that point. What are you going to do? Keep coming at me? You look like an asshole now. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that's easy, mind you. It's not easy to do. But I learned, especially at that moment, that like if you shut that down and you don't give them that ear to keep feeding you, like this person is stealing your stuff, this person is stealing your stuff, this person is stealing your stuff, that person, you know, okay, you know what? I'm still going to do what I'm doing. I'm still going to go on, and it'll fucking bite them in the ass. So. Oh, how cool is that? I live in Towanda, PA. Yep. I know it's past an hour and a half because then my phone starts to give me the warnings. So. You know, and Debbie, I know, and absolutely, you know what I'm saying? And I'll say this again, I will say it 100 times, you know, the one great thing is that you kept going. Through all of the nonsense, through all the crap, you're like, you know what? I'm not going to be defeated. I'm going to do what I'm doing. There are people that are out here that enjoy what I'm doing, and keep it classy, as they say, you know? And you definitely do that, so... I live in Towanda, PA. So, it's near Sayre, Wyalusing, White Sox. Any of those places ring a bell, let me know. Those are the ones right around me. So, where do you live? Maybe I'll happen to know where you live, although I'm really bad with direction. Okay, I have no idea where that is. I'll ask my husband, maybe he knows where it is. Because some things are closer than I realize. Because again, I have a shitty sense of direction. I can get from my house to the store. I can get from my house to Elmira, my house to Vestal, and that's pretty much it. Where are the craft stores? Where's the Chuck E. Cheese for my kid? And that's pretty much it. So. Okay, I know where Wilkes-Barre is. So, alright, we're somewhere. I got an idea. Because the VA hospital is down that way. So my husband goes to the VA hospital. So I know where that is. So that's about from my house to Wilkes-Barre is about an hour, so if that helps you at all. So you live in Canada, in the land of Canada, where all the Hart family wrestlers are from. I actually been to Canada once. I went to Niagara Falls when I was a kid. You know, when you could go across the border with no big deal. So, but that was when I was little. So, I got a lot of snow in Canada. But, I think that's going to be it, unless anybody has any questions, anybody that, you know, missed something, somebody wants me to elaborate on anything. You know, there's always next week. I could start a new topic. I can revisit a topic. you know, I can expand on the topic. So I was thinking maybe next week I'll show you more of the room. Thought that might be a thing. But if nobody else has anything else tonight, I'm gonna cut it right here. So I'll give a second because I know the chat is a little slow. But if nobody has anything else, I am gonna sign off. Again, you could always ask questions if you're watching the replay. If you're watching this and it's no longer live, you can still comment. It will tag me. So if you have a question or you want to take, anything that you see, anything I say, anything, whatever, by all means, you can come at me, you can come for me, you can come whatever floats your boat. So, but I will be here. I'll be answering any questions, anything like that. So that's pretty much it. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their evening. So I know it's late evening for me, but it's kind of just turning into evening for a lot of people. So, okay, so an hour and a half. That's not far. Maybe we'll have to figure some meetup place somewhere in the middle or something like that. I would love to have Starbucks. I haven't had Starbucks in a while. So, sayonara. I'm going to be one of those anime chicks. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and then I moved to Staten Island for a while. So, yes, Autumn, it's nice that you popped in. I know it's weird because of everybody's time differences, so, but this is the best time. I can't do too much later because then my kids take advantage of me not being upstairs to make sure that they go to bed. So, because they'll stay up all night if I let them. So, alrighty, guys, on that note, like I said, I'm going to do the anime thing.